welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today is time for a Dawn and Julia Create. Dawn has set the challenge this time and she wants to make a 3D letter using this MDF piece, which is available in my shop. So we'll use any form of letters and then this script here. So I found these wooden letters. So I'm just roughly going to work out how much room that these are going to fill out before I start playing with the stencil. So, dear Dawn, see if we've got enough letters to write it all. So, dear Dawn. So actually I was a bit concerned because I thought I was going to want my script on the lines, but actually to write this bit here I am probably going to end up using most of the space. Let's see. Love. This is almost like these board things, isn't it? You know, these letter boards. Now, I wanted to do that, but now I feel like that's going to take up loads of space. And I don't know if I want that. L. I. A. Okay. Yes, that's taking up an awful lot of space. What if I just put Dear Dawn? Dear Dawn, because I could make a little love heart at some point to do the love Julia. Yeah, so we'll do that. So I want to then put the script. So I really want the script to, oh, actually it's quite close to the lines, so I think I might be able to do it without it being too horrifically awful. So let's get some of this script detail down, and then I'm going to glue down my letters and then wait for all of that to dry and then come back and gesso. That actually lines up fairly well. Well, it does at the top, so maybe we're going to have to do this in sections. Let me see. Where does it stop lining up? Yes, I think top 3 lines at the minute are okay. So we'll get that in. I was thinking I was going to end up having to put like one line on and then come back a bit later and put another line on and then another line on, but you know, that would probably take far too long. Oh yeah, that lines up pretty good. Right, now if I make it like a separate paragraph, yeah, if I make it a separate paragraph, then I can line it up again and I'm not going to interfere with what's on here. So all these paragraphs are going to be 3 lines long. I'll get away with 4 on this one. So let's go for it. I'm going to just go on to the 4th line a little bit, but just the one word, so it doesn't look quite so contrite. That is so cool. I love it. Right, do another paragraph again. This time I'm going to come in this side. And again, I'm just going to do it as much as I can get it to line up for. I don't know why. I just really wanted the writing on the lines. This looks so cool now that I don't know that I want those letters. I might have to see what other letters I've got. We'll have to wait and see. So I've got that. I'm going to do 2, maybe 1 word, just so that it looks a bit more, because how many of us actually finish a paragraph looking even? Unless you use that fancy font thing on your Word document, you know, that makes it all even. Right, so we'll get that down, and then let's do 1 word at the bottom here. Cool, well that worked out better than I thought. All good. Right, I'm going to wait for that to, because now I'm just not sure if these, they might look alright. I might have to contemplate it. So that, how cool does that look? I actually just want to leave that like that now and call that done. I love that. I actually love the contrast against the MDF. So I was originally planning on gessoing all of that up and then painting it, but I actually really like that. So we'll see what occurs. Let's let that dry and I will be back when we're at the next stage. Okay, so I'm back. I have painted this with clear gesso because I had originally wanted to keep the contrast, and so I was just trying to do some dry brushing with white, which I was just filming there, but I don't like the way it turned out. So then I changed my mind and thought I'll paint the whole thing white, but rather than watch me painstakingly kind of create this effect that I'm now painting directly over, I cut that bit of the video out just so that it's not too long and too faffy. So it is Saturday morning now. I went to bed early last night because I was so tired. So I'm finishing this off on the morning. So I've got till about 10 o'clock. I've got another commitment at 10 o'clock. So I'm hoping that I'll have sort of finished so that by the time I can sort of be editing at lunchtime. Last minute Annie as usual, but I have been incredibly busy. I did actually start this a few days ago, so it's not... I'm finishing it last minute, but you know, the intentions to be organised were there. So yeah, so now I'm covering this all over. I did originally like the contrast between the writing, the script and the craft, but then in trying to dry brush it, I lost the crispness of that, so in all honesty I should have left it. But that's fine. If things don't go to plan, never stress. I can always make another one, or just leave it. Or just view it as a creative opportunity. It's now going to take it in a completely different direction. To be honest, this was the direction that was in my head when I first started, and it was only when I saw the contrast of the white writing against the craft, the kind of craft colour of the MDF, that I was like, oh, I like the way that stands out. And so I changed my mind, and now I've changed my mind again. So it's completely okay to change your mind whilst you're working on a project. That's all good. And if a certain layer or element or something doesn't quite work out as you planned, it's all good. It gives you a creative opportunity to try and do something else. So that's the connection lost with my camera, which means I'm probably going to have a weird edit, but to be honest, I was thinking of telling you that I was going to go and speed up anyway. So what I'm going to do is finish giving this a coat, maybe a second coat, who knows, and in between time I pull this image out from my bit box because I found the words dream and relax. Now Dawn did say letters and not words, but I really don't like how those letters that I have are sitting against the fancy script. It's just not working for me. So as much as I really want to do a Dear Dawn letter, yeah, it's changing. I still love you, Dawn, but yeah. So I'm kind of doing a more scruffling technique here now, just to get all of that in. So this image kind of goes with the words dream and relax, and also I thought it was in my bit box, which was what the requirement was, and also I thought I've got the ability to sort of cut into that image and eke it out just a little bit further because we don't have a lot to play with. I would have liked to make an image and like little elements to, you know, so I could have had a girl and then flowers going round, but we don't have that luxury, so I need to somehow make one image work for me. So that's what I thought. If I go for that topper, I've got the ability to cut in and take different elements of it out. So I am just going to finish this and then fussy cut my image, and I will be back. Okay, so I am back. I've started fussy cutting this out. As I was fussy cutting it, I've decided I would quite like to create a galaxy style background. So I've still got elements there that we can cut into. But because it's not overly ambitious, but with the amount of time that we've got and the drying time required, it may be overly ambitious. So I'm gonna move on to getting the galaxy bit created first, and then we will see where we go from there, because it will require a little bit of drying time. I just think with the image that we've got and the fact that we've got dream, I've also got fly away, which I might sort of, what do you call, gesso up. So I've put a little bit of water onto my page, and I am going to start with my pink. So there's different ways that you can paint galaxies, or different colours you can use. And just go with what you feel, just go with the flow. And I find the best way to create a really good galaxy is just to let the paint do its thing. Don't overly think about it. So you start with your brighter colours in the centre. That's going to create that sort of like bright highlight. This is actually bringing out the writing as well now, so that's kind of cool. And then you work out and do darker things. But I think I tend to use plenty of water, and as I said, that is just purely so that I can just let it do its thing. Now, we didn't get a distress ink, because normally what I would do is I would come in and really darken the edges with the distress ink. I'm going to have to try and do that with the paint. My paint has been on its side to because of when I came back and had it all on the train, but I'm looking at finding different storage, not storage things, but travel solutions. So yeah, I'm using similar colour tones. I've got my pinks for my highlights. I'm going out into like purples and blues, and then we will go in with like really a dark blue and like an almost black at the edge, and this will create the galaxy. Then once it's dry, we will come in and we will do some white flicking, but I just think this will really suit the image, because I've kind of cut the galaxy background away. So by putting it back in, it's still there, which I think will be fun. Right, so I'm going to get some of the darker colours now. And as I said, just let it go where it wants to go. It's never going to go further than the water, so that's why I am sort of putting water on, so that it's got somewhere to move. It's never really going to go further than that. So you don't have to panic too much, but just drop the paint in and let it move where it wants to move. And if you do that, and as I said, just let it do its own thing, you end up with a much more organic, natural looking thing anyway. And I've got this darkest colour here, which I'm going to try and get into the edges first. As I said, normally I would get my black distress ink in there, just to really darken it, but it's not on the list. And also it's just lifting my gesso a little bit. It's obviously not quite dry, so I may have to come in and do another coat at some point. That's fine, it is what it is. So I'm getting that dark colour. all the edges. I said that's not looking overly pretty, but I'm just trying to get it so it actually reaches the edge of the page, and then I'll feather it all in. I'll just drop more water and more paint. I'm going to lift some of what's going on there because, as I said, it's lifted up the gesso as well, which is kind of bringing a sort of, it's looking more grey. So I'm just going to lift this here. But now I've kind of got to the edges, we can, hopefully that'll lift up some of the chalk or the gesso as well. I can just drop this right in now. And I'm not having to worry as much now because the colour is right to the edge, so like it looked a bit strange there, but so yeah, I'd gone from wanting this to look like the natural brown colour to not knowing what I was going to do to full-blown galaxy mode, and that at all was not in my head when I started. And this is the joy of just allowing the creative process to do its thing. I'm trying not to move this too much because, as I said, that gesso is still wet and it's creating a horrible grey, which I'm not really loving, but it is what it is. Right, I'm going to brighten that up. Now let's get some of these purples in, and as I said, the trouble is I am going to have to now let this dry, and because it's not an overly porous surface, because it's going to, well, it is, so I'm kind of lying to you there. It is porous because it's MDF and gesso, so it is, but it's not got the same absorbency as your watercolour card, so it is going to take a lot longer to dry. And as I said, because I'm really pushing the boundaries of this, yeah, I think we're going to be filming, editing and hoping that it uploads in time. We will just have to see what occurs. Also completely drowned my watercolour palette in water here. I think I've gone a bit heavy handed with the water. That's always me though, it's just the way I craft with it. And this pink, this is a my Jane Davenport thing, and the pink's almost gone. And this is the advantage of, because this is a student grade, so these are student grade watercolours, not professional grades. And one of the requirements of a professional grade product is that you can buy the colour individually. And that is sometimes why maybe the advantage, there is an advantage, because like as you can see, my other colours, I've got loads of them, they're going to last me years, but this pink is not. This pink is going to go the way of the dodo before long. And I love this pink, and the fact that I can't just buy a pan of pink to pop in here is quite distressing. One thing is, I could possibly buy a pan of pink of a professional grade one that is similar and try and pop it into this pan, so I might be able to find a way, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So, I'm liking how this is looking. As I said, it is going to distress me when I get to the point that we're at the end and I can't use my distress inks around the edge. Although technically, distress ink is a water-based product. So I'll have to see what I can find that's watercolour that I can use to really blacken those edges. Because they are going to go lighter, especially when they dry. Or I'll just film it as is, and then once the camera's turned off I'll blacken it. And be naughty, and Dawn will never know. Oh, she don't tell her, she'll never know. Oh, the thing is, I'm already might be on the naughty step because I've used words instead of letters, so shall I be a rebel and go whole hog? I mean, limiting your supplies is good, it forces you to think outside the box, but sometimes it's just a bit annoying. I might have to see, I might have to see if, because because the thing is the black in this pan isn't a true black, which I like, because I am, if you've heard my theme, like we were never allowed to use black at school, because there is no such colour as black, and the blacks that you get in a pan tend to be quite flat. They're not how they would really be. So normally, even if I was painting with black, I would mix in a Prussian blue or something like that to give it a richness. So I do quite like this. The colour's called Ink, and it is almost a black, but it does have a slightly blue tinge. But it is, I am just going to struggle getting the absolute darkness around the edges. I've got my daughter trying to creep into the room here. Yes?
Hello.
Hello, darling.
My name is Kezia McNeil, and now I am in Julia McNeil Crafts. Just here to grab a brush.
She's grabbing a paintbrush because she's working on her own art.
Yeah.
I've just been telling everybody how you keep stealing my brushes.
Bye.
Bye. It was funny. I had some of her school friends come running up the hill the other day, wanting to meet me. Are you Julia McNeil? I was like, yes. It's like, it's really not that exciting. My husband said that they'd come up while I was away in TV land the other week. They'd come up to try and meet me then. And he goes, I don't think they were as excited about meeting the window cleaner. Oh, it made me laugh. Yeah, we've had to gradually sort of rearrange her room. She wants her own art space, which I fully understand. There's not really room for both of us to sit in art here, to be honest. It's a very confined space, but work on the studio is gradually progressing. Right, so I am now going to have to leave this. It's probably going to be like after lunch now before I actually am able to get back and finish this. I like to live on the edge. I have always been a bit of a last minute Annie. I once was going to an event and I'd made the outfit that I was wearing. And I was literally hemming it on the way. I was like hemming my outfit on the way to where we were going. So, you know, this is me. I don't want to be like this. But I've got lots, I'm doing lots design wise, and I've just signed up for a course, so that's now extra coursework to do, which is exciting. It's all good for my business. I'm also doing the 100 miles for breast cancer next month, so I'm not it's going to be a busy month, but fun. Life's better. Life's more fun when it's busy, isn't it? Right, the connection's lost again now, so I'm hoping that I'm still filming, but I think I'm sort of at the stage now where we leave it to do its thing and see what occurs. Just going to brighten that centre bit again, and yeah, I will be back when it's dry and we will see what we shall do then. So this is it all dry. As it has been drying, I've been sort of popping in and adding more dark, almost like a child would use a watercolour. I got it really, really thick on my brush and added it because I really wanted those edges nice and dark. I will show you because I'm going to have another drying stage after this, so I'll just kind of do one of the corners and show you what I mean. Right, so the next thing I am going to do now is a little bit of dry brushing. I'm also trying to get some white splatters on there because that's what's going to make it look far more like a galaxy. But I want to bring this text out. So I'm going to try not to put too much on my brush like I did earlier. It is later in the day now, so hopefully my brain is functioning slightly better. We're still pre-lunchtime. It's almost 12 o'clock, so... And I've just realised we've got souffle, which also requires drying time, but I'm going to put it on thin, so hopefully it'll not take too long. I tend to put the paint about halfway to 3/4 of the way up the brush. You don't want to go down, you want to go across. So basically you're only wanting it to hit the raised areas. If you go down, you're going to go in and get into the bit. So it depends what look you want. I just really want to sort of emphasise this text. So I'm just sort of putting it on those areas. I don't mind that a little bit sort of going below it because we're going to be putting white splatters anyway to give it the star effect. But all I'm trying to do is just catch that script so that we can see that there's writing there and that kind of comes forward a bit more. I'm not going to get it shoe white because we're working with a water reactive product, so it's going to move as soon as there's something wet on it, and you know the gesso is wet, it's a wet medium, so it's a bit too much. So it's not going to be fully white, but we're going to lighten it a little bit which is kind of what I'm going for, and I'm just going to try and go a bit faster, see if that helps me to catch the, almost being a bit too precise I think. Right, so we're getting that and hitting that, and that writing is becoming a bit more dominant now. We can actually see that there's some script on there, which is what I want. Right. So we will, oops, a bit heavy-handed there, but as I said, I'm not too worried if I end up heavy-handed, because by the time we've got white, I've got white splatters to put on here to make it look more star-like, and I've got some souffle to put on as well. So I'm just going to be doing that in a minute, and then that's what I mean, that's the souffle. I'm going to need to let it dry for a while. So because I've got another drying stage, I can show you what how I was building up the edges, because that can all dry together. Hopefully it'll not take too long. But with the souffles, if you force dry them, they can go a little bit milky, which I don't want. So I am going to let it dry naturally, but I'm not going to apply it too thick. I'm going to apply sort of like thin coats of it. So hopefully we should still get away with it timing wise. Okay, so that's emphasised that. Now I'm going to just get a thinner brush and get a little bit, the trouble is my water is quite, I have to use spray, the water, that's the colour of my water right now. So if I was to use that to create white splashes, they're not going to be white splashes, they're going to be blue splashes. And that's not what I want. So I'm just going to mix a little bit in my lid, because it's all I've got to hand right now, and just try and water that down, because I don't know if I probably have white watercolour somewhere, but where I don't know. The stuff that's on my desk is not watercolour, it's acrylic, and that's not on the list. So let's just, I think I've made that not too thin, but it's like too watered down so that it's not going to look white. I'm just trying to get the consistency right, and it kind of making my gesso look blue here. This is not good. Right. So let's get. It's amazing when you do galaxy painting. A few white splatters, and the whole thing comes to life and looks completely different. We'll pull some of that out to make stars in a little bit. Now I'm just going to force dry that. I did want to put that on first because it's not going to, once the souffle dries, it's almost going to create a bit of a resist, so my splatters aren't going to sit as well on them, because it's like a it dries shiny. Your souffle is almost like a gel medium, but with lots of sparkles and inclusions. It's a fantastic product, I love it, and I've just bought the latest colours. So's Dawn, and I may or may not have enabled her. Like, I was on TV, and I knew the souffles were going live at 8 o'clock, and I finished my show at 8, and I was out the studio so quickly and into the green room, because I was like, oh, I need to make sure I get these before I sold out, because I knew she had a very limited supply of them. So then I messaged Dawn later in the day and was like, Dawn, have you got the new souffles? And she's like, no. And I'm like, hurry, there might still be some left. And there was, and she got them. So I'm actually going to use one of the new ones. So we do have Galaxy colours. So this one here is called Purple Constellation. That's designed to be a galaxy one, and so is this, but they all have a fabulous galaxy effect. So what I did, I fully believe in swatching your products. It really does make a difference to the choices, because I would naturally have gone for this one, for this Purple Constellation, but when I put my image next to it, this one matches better, and I think it's because it's got this sort of same blues. It doesn't have green in it, which the other one does, and I don't have green in my image, but it's got gold flecks, which I think sort of mimics the moon. So I think this one works better on my project. And as I said, this is really why I firmly believe that it's really important to swatch, because you can make, you know, better choices when it comes to using your product. So I'm going to pull that one out. So that one's called Magic Potion. Oops, and it's one of the newer ones. So that's this one here. And as I said, I am not going to put this. To be honest, I kind of wish I had the time to have thicker clumps of it, because I think it would look really good, but I'm kind of short on time, so it's not going to happen. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and sort of stipple it, because I would like it to be a little bit textured, but as I said, I just don't have the time for it to end up really, sorry, I'm not in shot, for it to end up like sort of really thick. That's fine. We can do something like that another day. I'm going to pop this down. And as I said, because this has, it almost dries a bit like a gel medium when I was to do my paint splashes. I mean, I probably will do another layer of paint splashes, but it will resist slightly on these areas. So because of that, I am deliberately put some white splashes down first, but I do want to emphasise them a bit more, and I'll pull some of them out and make them a bit more star-like. So we're getting this on. This is going to give it a lovely sparkle. And they're nice, like, deep colours. It really matches it. So I'm sort of, as I said, I'm doing a stippling motion rather than a painting motion, so I'm going to get a little bit of texture. Hopefully it's just thin enough that the drying time will not be horrendous. I'm hoping that if I come back in half an hour or so, that'll be fine. So I'm going to do it in threes because I like things in threes. Most of us do, and it's to do with the way your brain sees things. The brain likes to make a choice between this and that, so if you put 3, it kind of confuses it, so it sees it as a whole. So that's quite often in art and things, the perfect ratio is 3s or odd numbers, but when it comes to sales, it tends to be a this or that option or an even number, because you're more likely to make a choice. If there's this, that, if there's 3 choices, you're actually more likely to walk away and not buy. Whereas an even number, you can normally at least choose half of them and make a choice. So interesting how this all works. Now this is actually moving some of the paint. Some of that dark paint has come down with me, but it's a galaxy effect and it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to make this all a bit heavier, bring this down. So we've got a little bit here in this corner, a little bit coming across here, and a little bit coming across here, and it's almost, it's like we've created sparkly clouds. I might sort of bring it up so that they match. So it's kind of in 3 areas, but I might sort of connect them just because I'm enjoying splooshing it down, to be honest. Right, so we've got that. I'm going to let all that dry, and I'll show you what I mean now about how I was doing the I'm just trying to get the right brush, how I was doing the corners, so I can just darken this corner here. So basically I was getting my watercolour, because normally I tend to use watercolours quite loose, but I kind of, as I said, I literally was just going in and in and in like this, really working it so that I had loads on my brush. And by the time it was on my brush, it was really quite thick. As I said, if you watch children watercolour, that's kind of how they do it. They kind of get lots and don't pull it out, and it's sort of literally putting it on like that, but because I've done it like that and it's so thick on my brush, I am getting that depth. I'm getting it looking really, really dark. So that's what I did to build up the darkness of the edges. I'm just going to pop that back in because, as I said, I'm going to be adding more paint splatters anyway. So that's how I built up the depth, and what I was doing is, as it was drying, every time I sort of popped past the room, it's also why I couldn't be bothered sort of turning the camera off and on just to show a 2-second thing. So every time I popped in the room, I was just sort of adding a little bit more, but putting it on really thick. So, because I do like when I do a galaxy for the edges to be really, really dark. It's what makes it all pop. I mean, I like to do that anyway in general, but definitely when doing a galaxy it makes a difference. Right, so I am now going to go for lunch. Hopefully in half an hour or so that will have dried to a state where I can at least finish it off. And then we just need to put the image down. Kind of thinking she's maybe just going to go there, and then we'll have the word dream, and yeah, we'll see how we go. So I'll see you in a moment. So it's all dry, look. Sparkly lushness, it's so nice. Just wish you could see it in real life, and I've just dropped water on that, which was not intended, so that's annoying. Okay, let's grab some more white gesso. I just want to do the dry brushing again. Just to emphasise it even further, and we'll do some more splashes, and then I think pretty much probably good to go, I'm hoping. Just hopefully a matter of sticking the, oops, very heavy handed with this gesso now. Oops, never mind. It's all part of the, it's all part of it. It's fine. I don't have, it's now 10 to 2. So we have, oh dear, dear, dear. It's way too heavy handed. We now, so how many hours is that? 4 hours. Got 4 hours to finish this, edit it and upload it. So we're beginning to sort of, yeah. Oh dear. It's beginning to get a bit tight now. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'm just getting this, getting the lettering highlighted. And we'll see how we go with that. So I suppose there's arguments that you could put the texture paste through at the end, but actually I don't want a stark white. And the reason it's picking up more here is because we have that souffle. So I'm just going to sort of dry brush between those paragraphs as well, just so that it doesn't, it looks like I was meant to have done that. Right, so it's looking, definitely the text is coming out a lot more. So that's all good. Right, let's get some more white splashes on there. I'm seriously running out of paintbrushes yet again. As you saw earlier in the video, my daughter kind of came in and stole one, and this is becoming the story of my life. I've got nice clean water though, so hopefully I shouldn't contaminate my paint this time. Should get a nice bright white for those splashes. So I'm just breaking that down in there. It's nice thick gesso this. I don't want it too watery, but I need it thin enough that it's going to splatter. And I said I'm using this because I don't have, I can't use my normal splattery thing, which is my white acrylic. That's too big a splatter. I didn't want that, but I will get that in a minute. And I'll just lift that. It's fine because like within nebulas and stuff like that you will find brighter patches, so by just pushing it back there it will absorb, because obviously it's water reactive products that we've got underneath, so it will sort of take on that colour. So we'll get a lot more of the splitty splashes, and then I'm going to have to find a fine brush, because normally what I would do now is come in with a white pen and just pull some of those stars out a little bit, but I'm going to have to do that with a brush. I might let that just dry a little bit and we'll sort that out. So that's looking quite good, and I'm thinking we've got little Celeste that we can put just there, and then there's another little star here which I can cut out. I'd quite like to somehow include this cloud, but it's a bit difficult in that we don't have the full cloud, so that's just going to look random. So I don't know if I can sort of try and shape this a little bit so that we still, yeah. This is why I chose this topper, because I knew I'd be able to sort of cut into it a little bit. Right, I've still got the top cloud shape here, so I don't know if I can, no. But I might be able to tuck it behind there so that we've got the colours coming across. Okay, so we'll have something like that. And then I've still got a star here. So as I said, this was me trying to extend the one image that Dawn allowed us. So I have only taken one image from my bit box, so I've followed the rules, but by choosing a topper, as I said, I've been able to pull different elements of it out. We do have the paint drips as well, but I'm not sure that they're going to work on this, to be honest. So, got this star. We can bring, so just by being able to pull some of the elements out, I'm just managing to get it to come across. So we have these paint drips, but I'm not sure that they, I don't know that I want them. I don't think they suit it. Right, so then I've got this word dream. Now I don't know whether to leave that white as is. I'm tempted, I think I'm going to go yellow to match that and to make it stand out, and possibly with a bit of gold. This is going to be hard to get the depth that I want just using watercolour, but yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's pop that to the side. I'm going to pull out my, I've got a yellow here. Let's see, right, I need a spare bit of paper to lean this on. Okay, right, so let's get this. I've got the yellow, so I'm going to maybe do the same thing that I was doing with the black earlier, and I'm going to try and get the paint really thick. And then I've got a gold paint in my Kuretake Gansei Tambis, which is a watercolour, so we should be able to get a hint of gold, but let's just see. As I said, I'm kind of really working the paint. Sorry, excuse my tea. Just bring this in so you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. So I'm really sort of getting right in there and working the paint so that it's really quite thick. I've not got it watery, I've got it really, really thick. And hopefully that just means we will get the colour on there. So I'll check what it looks like just yellow and decide if we're going to leave it as such or if we are going to put a bit of gold on it as well. But I'll bring the project, I'm thinking it might work with the yellow. It would be nice to give it a bit of sheen. Unfortunately the souffle that I used is sort of like dark blues and stuff like that. If I could maybe, we're only allowed one souffle, if I could have maybe sort of pulled out the gold one or something like that, that might have worked a bit better. Right, let's pull this back in, and yeah, do you know what, I'm going to keep it, I'm not going to, I think I'm going to keep it yellow. Because it matches these elements here and it stands out, and we've kind of got the touches of gold. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab a little bit of cardboard. So I just grabbed some cardboard because I'm going to try and just give this a bit more dimension. I don't know why I stuck the camera back on just before I was about to fiddle with glue, because you know, I do have a reputation. So I have stuck the cardboard on the back there. I'm just going to add glue to this side now. I'm actually going to pull this further down than where I had it, just so that I can try and get this to, just for the page to look a bit more full. It's quite a big space. I would have preferred to be able to fill it more, but I am actually really liking where it's going. I think I'm quite pleased. So that's all good. Popping that down here. Okay. So I think we are pretty much done. I would have liked to have been able to doodle an outline in white or something, but I can't. So I'm just going to have to, let's get the dream down, and then work out where that star looks best. I'm just going to lift it a little bit, just so it'll be easier to stick there because there's less texture paste. It's just a bit low, like I can see it, but I'm looking in the camera and it's not showing up hugely well, but actually in real life it is showing up quite well, so I'm just going to live with it. You could use your gel medium, but This should stick. If it doesn't, I'll come back in with gel medium later. As I say, I'm sort of at the minute working with the awareness that I've got a few hours to now watch all of this back and edit and render and upload and all of that malarkey. So I am sort of aware of time. Right, have I got that straight? Not quite. So yeah, when you see it at a different angle, it does look slightly brighter. Right. Now I'm just going to try and work out where to put this star. There's one lonely star. Yeah, maybe there. Okay, that's us. I think that is us. As I said, if I was not working with such limited supplies, I would probably be getting a few more of these clouds and building that up a little bit. And I would see, when I tilt it like that, you can see how well that stands out. The way I'm looking at it, it really stands out and it really pops. But the way it was on the camera angle there, not quite so much. So that is all finished. I should maybe clear my desk. Yeah, it's been fun. It's good to limit your supplies, because it, like, I wouldn't have edged it like this had I not been allowed to use my black ink, so I had to find another way around it. So I'm pleased in that. That's one good thing about limiting your supplies. It helps you to sort of like maybe learn or think out the box when it comes to techniques, which shows you don't need to have everything to make beautiful things. As I said, if I did have more, I would just maybe like to continue these clouds across a bit more and maybe have another couple here. But other than that, I'm quite happy with it as it is. So I'm just going to clear my desk like this as I'm talking, because yeah, I kind of need to hold it like this for you to see anyway. Please do pop across to see what our Dawn has done. She is amazing at mixed media, and she'll have done something really unique and really different, and I'll watch it and go, oh, why didn't I think of that? Because that's what I normally do. I normally watch Dawn and then go, oh, I wish I'd done that. She's very inspiring to watch. So I want to stop waffling now and get on with all the things that I've been talking about and saying that I need to do. So yeah, I've cleared my desk there now, sort of. And that is my finished project here. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing. And I will be back with you very, very soon. And don't forget to check out our Dawn. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.